Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 5 of our MP Esports podcast. And I'm joined by Elias as he makes a huge comeback to this podcast after leaving it a few episodes ago. Once again, other people just couldn't make it, unfortunately. So we will talk here by ourselves. So, Elias, say hello.
Yeah, well, hello. It's good to be back. I've had some amazing 1.5 month, and good to be back. Good to hop back on and have something to do immediately.
Yeah. So, as Elias is back, we're jumping straight into the discussion, and we're here for rounds number 5 and 6 for the main grid, and round 3 and 4 for the MP Juniors. And yeah, 2 weeks and not 2 weeks, 2 races in 2 weeks for MP Juniors grid because Monaco was cancelled, and we had a race in Austria for the MP Juniors and in Silverstone as well. But we're starting from the main grid. Of course, the biggest news, we talked about it in the previous episode. I want to mention this again: the departure of Infinex and Chris, two amazing drivers, the very fast drivers. Yeah, that's Infinex 10 poles in a row record. Well, I'm not sure it will be beaten somewhere in the future. Who knows, obviously. But yeah, Austria and Great Britain were their lost GPs. And, well, unfortunately for Infinex, in Austria he couldn't quite get that pole as he was beaten by Star from Civetta, who, well, got his second pole in a row. Yeah, that is quite amazing, to be honest. He was ahead of Infinex. Uruguay Fast returning to the grid with a decent P3, I must say. Then Big Buns in P4 Calderin from Ferrari. Yeah, the Ferrari drivers are really making some good progress. They're in the Constructors' Championship, building that gap, and so on. Krish with a solid P6. Notice he only used his one attempt out of 3, so with his first lap, he was able to grab that P6. And let's notice good, I must say, performance from the Porsche drivers. Bituco, for the first time this season, was able to make it to the knockouts. He's P7 with his teammate T.Doc and P9. Sparks once again in the top 8, but really on the edge there with 2/10 to Doc. So what else here? And the qualifying, Ronisco, yeah, from McLaren. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to really get that lap together. Only P11 for the McLaren driver. On the other hand, Colucci from BMW team was able to advance to the knockouts. Not for the first time this season, but in the recent races, I will say like that. With that said, we are moving on to the knockouts. Obviously, we have knockouts as usual, and Stor was paired with his teammate. Well, not for the second time in a row, but for the second time this season. And just like last time, Stor beat his teammate Sparks to advance to the semifinals, and Sparks went to that losers semifinal, losers of the quarterfinal semifinals, and he lost to Kodrin there. So not a great weekend for the Civetta driver, but things happen. Maybe just not his track. Big Buns was able to advance to the final. Yeah, for the first time, I don't know, since what race? Where he faced in Phoenix. He beat Bituko and Krish to advance to his yet another final this year. Uguay Fast surprisingly lost to Krish in the first round of the knockouts, but he was able to get that P5, I think. In that bottom 8, we see, well, who will we see? We see Ronisco losing to Visidomini somehow, and Visidomini advances to the semifinals for the first time this season. Let's notice that. Silent Driver didn't really make that comeback from P10 to P9 as he was beaten by Andrick in that bottom 8 knockouts finals, if you can call it like that. And yeah, that was the Austrian GP in Phoenix with a stunning victory in his second lost race. Krish, a solid P4, more points for the McLaren team, and especially when Renisco came home in P13. These points are very important for the team, obviously. So let's check out the constructors after round 5. And we have Ferrari out there in the lead, 181 points. Then Nocciolina, thanks to Phoenix, obviously, 142 points. Civetta overtaken Nismo here in the standings. So they have P3, 22 points to go. And with the departure of Phoenix, maybe Civetta can fight for that P2 in the standings. I don't know. P4 is Nismo, then McLaren, then K Racing, and Lotus and Lamborghini. Let's note that I think they scored the first points this season. I'm not sure about that. I'm probably wrong. But anyways, what about the driver settings here in Phoenix with a comfortable lead? 44 points clear of Big Buns, who was able to overtake both Uguay Fast and Kodrin, who sit nicely in P3 and P4, and they are looking pretty fast this season. And then we have Krish, 7 points behind Uguay Fast. Yeah, that could be a good fight in Great Britain. Krish's last race in Monoposto Esports, but maybe he can fight for something there. Then Sparks and Star, not as the two teammates are leveled on points after 5 rounds. That is crazy. Adam, well, yeah, on the back foot, only P8, but he can fight back probably. Bituko up to P9, that is. Yeah, P9. Then Silent D with 18 points again. Yeah, falling behind his teammate. 79 points behind Big Buns. This is not looking good for the Nismo driver at all. And, well, what happened in Great Britain around 6 of this season?
Yeah, well, we move on onto Great Britain Silverstone. It's the last pole for Phoenix ever, as he retires at the end of the season. Adam is P2, as you already said earlier. He was indeed able to fight back, but 8 thousandths of a second behind in Phoenix on pole. The two Ferrari drivers behind those two in P3 and P4, solid overall. Sparks not in top 8 for the first time since round 1, which is amazing, really. He has been consistent for the whole season, well, until round 6. Disappointing quali for Big Buns, he only was able to manage P6 on the grid. Well, we move on to the knockouts. Uguay Fast advances to the next round after an amazing duel, really, with Buns as well. Krish beats Adam, but in the end loses to Uguay Fast. In Phoenix comes home all the way to win his last ever race in MP Esports, beating Uguay Fast in the final. Krish managed to secure his podium finish on in his last race of the season, of his career, as far we know. Sparks beats all his opponents to finish in P9, which is not really something he should be proud of. We're looking at this consistency over the course of the season, but I think he will be pleased with it, especially looking at his quali. Well, Silent E suffers a surprising loss in the first round of the knockouts, and that pretty much wraps it up. In the end, in Phoenix ahead of Uguay Fast, who is in P2, and Krish in P3. Star, Kodorin, and Buns are 4th, 5th, and 6th. Admin P7, Ronisco in P8 for the second time in a row. Sparks in P9, and D Mazur wraps up the top 10. And yeah, I think that wraps up round 6 Silverstone pretty nicely. I think we can move on onto MP Junior for round 4. Oh, round 3 actually.
Yeah, round 3 indeed. We are moving on because we have a lot of things to say. And yeah, round 3 of the season for the MP Juniors. Austria, a pretty short track, known for its first corner, where you can easily fly into the sky. I was able to get P3 in the end. I'm not really proud of that, but anyways, 12, another win for him in this Monoposto Juniors Championship. Monoposto Esports Juniors Championship, sorry. Kyoza, after he, sort of retired at the end of Season 1 with all that stuff, he lost the championship to Uguay Fast, I lost the championship as well, and now he makes a sudden return, but instead of driving for Nismo, he now drives for BMW, trying to get the team up there, and straight from the first race, P2 for Koza, here it is. And P2 just a couple of tenths behind 12. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I think we need to mention that BMW does have partnership with Nismo, so he technically is still driving for Nismo, even though not in the Nismo F1 team. But amazing comeback, amazing performance also from him. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see him competing at the high level soon, probably. Maybe even on the main grid, but yeah, we will see.
So, we have Koza in P2 then. Decent podium. Then, a Nochalina Drivers Academy driver, D. Beresnay, or something like that, with a solid P4, and he's pretty quick, I must say. So he will be competing not for the championship, probably, but who knows? Yeah, maybe we'll see him somewhere around P1 in the World Drivers' Championship. At least he helps Nuccelina and the constructors. Anyways, we have AKA, one of our hosts in P5. More points, scored more points for Ferrari. They are building the gap just like the main grid. Then we have PXSLY, and he actually moved to Nismo F1 Team after this race, as the Mercedes team kind of bankrupted and so on. Then El Carlos, and that is the first points for McLaren, for the McLaren Academy, of course, this season. Data comes home in P8, while the rest of the Nismo drivers except me sadly miss out on the points. They're P12, P13, and P14, as you can see. Driver standings after the Austrian GP 12 continues to build that gap. Already 20 points between me and him. He's going for the championship. AKA overtakes Star. Well, sorry, departure to the main grid after a couple of races. Then, surprisingly, Kyo's after only one race is already P6. How is that possible? I have no idea, honestly. D. Beresnay is already P9 with 12 points. He's up 14 positions. Yeah, that is a strange thing to see. Going to the constructor standings, then Ferrari 109 points. Nismo is trying anything basically, but well, Ferraris have two fast drivers, while Nismo, well, I'm the only one who really fights for big points, unfortunately. BMW, thanks to Kyoza, now sit in P3 with 39 points. Nuccelina overtakes a Mercedes Academy, and they have 30 points now. McLaren, as I mentioned earlier, first points of this season. Well, Lamborghini still sit on 0 points, unfortunately for them. That was the Austrian GP in Monoposto Juniors. And, well, I give the word to Elias to complete this episode and talk about the Silverstone GP in Monoposto Juniors.
Yeah, well, to wrap it up, we have Silverstone round 4 in the MP Junior category. We have your, poor performance, one could say. Only P8 in Silverstone. 12, finishing his third race in the row on the top step of the podium. Danny Bereshne coming home in P2. Amazing performance, as he also did a quite good job in Austria. Kyoza finishing P3. Also, once again, after the comeback in Austria, a good result in England, in Great Britain as well. Now, moving on, we have Ferrari still building the gap on top in the constructors' standings. Nismo still trying to kind of fight back, but as you already mentioned, you are pretty much the only one fighting for solid points, and I'm kind of biased here. I think we need to hope that Nismo can put up a proper fight. I'm talking because I'm part of Nismo F1 Team as well. We really need to improve the overall pace of the team. 12, as well, still extending the gap by now 41 points after round 4.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I just noticed that the gap between the first and second place, both in World Drivers' Championship and the Constructors, is exactly 41 points, which is kind of crazy and interesting at the same time. We talked about everything we wanted to mention. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will come back in 2 weeks for round number 7 and 8 in the main championship, and round, 5 in the MP Juniors, if nothing changes, of course. We all wish Amphionics and Krish happy retirement, and maybe they will come back someday. I don't know. But it was kind of good to have them on the grid. So, yeah, thank you, Chris and Amphionics. Well, it's time to say goodbye then for me and Elias. Thanks for listening. Give this video a like, subscribe to my channel because I am really close to 400. But this is it for today. See you guys. See you next time. Goodbye.